Hello and welcome to the third video in this series the fourth video, of the .NET Crash course. This is your host Amar from Advanced Software, where we are trying to take you from zero to hero in .NET in no time, just by watching these few free videos on YouTube, and we hopefully that can give you value and knowledge. Now please just check the description, subscribe to our channel, and we have a free developer success guide course. Just check the description, sign up, and you will be able to get this course for free. So now let's continue with what we've been doing lately. We've been teaching, or we've been working on Blazor, and we talked about how we can do some data binding, how we can do some work for it, and create the website and so on using Blazor. Now what I want to do with you is the following. I want to show you something that you will need to deal with and handle throughout working with ASP.NET Core, and that is the dependency injection. And this is like a 101 .NET Core subject that you will encounter either as a question in interviews, or just let's say just like a knowledge that you will use a lot with ASP.NET Core. Now, I'm not gonna talk a lot about the pipeline of the ASP.NET Core application. I'm gonna just tell you that over here with the configure services, and if you see over here, we use here to configure the services and add them to the container. Okay. Now, we come down here, and here we add the services. If you notice with me, we already have out of the box this weather forecast service. Let me show you. And this service is injected over here. Now, in case you are not familiar with dependency injection, dependency injection is the way that we use dependency injection container, which is, let's call it, a piece of software that we use it to have a certain instances or a certain objects from a certain class, or a certain let's say a class mostly, and interfaces. We wanna have them for us available throughout the application without making the classes very coupled. We use the container, this container, or the container that comes with the outside of the box of ASP.NET Core. You come down here, you add, let's say that I want this service class available throughout my application. Now, instead of me create a new object in each and every one, and I have a state to manage, and maybe I want to create singletons, maybe this one controlling some significant parts of my application, and so on. So now I can just use a new object all the time. I come down and add it to my container, and after I add it to my container, it's available for me throughout the application. So if I come down over here, I'll go to pages, I'll go to fetch data, and notice that we are using over here the dependency injection, where we are injecting this weather forecast service over here, and I have it now available inside my code. Alright, so this way I don't have a tightly coupled application. I can actually replace the class name with an interface, and behind the scene, let's say that I have a different class I wanna use, not this one. I can come simply to the injector over here and change the things. Now I can add two types, the service and the implementation. So I can add an interface over here and the concrete class, which is something I'll show you shortly. So now let's create a service. Let's come down here. I'm gonna create a new service. I'm gonna call it rating service, which is related to the example we did in the previous lecture. So now I'll actually come down here inside the service over here. I'm gonna add like this. I'm gonna add rating, and what I wanna do, I wanna come down over here and add this method public. I'll just give it void. Just this is an example, and this is, I'm gonna call it show message. So this is just a simple method like this. If the rating is above maybe 3, we're gonna do the following. We're gonna say we're gonna actually give it the same message we did earlier. Okay. Now it's not the most optimistic way of coding. Again, you need to follow the clean code concepts and so on, but this is just to show you one of the most important features of ASP.NET Core, and it's like a huge game changer. Now we have the concrete class. What I want to do, I want to create the interface. Now I'll have the interface over here in a separate file. Another class, select interface, and the interface name is usually start with rating service. Now, if case that you are thinking about becoming a software developer and full .NET developers, please check the description below again. We are holding a bootcamp for software development. Very soon we will get really deep with you in how to develop software and so on. Now I'm gonna add this rating service interface. I'm gonna create public. I can add the property declaration, and I can add the method declaration. I'll come down here. I'll make this one implement this interface, and it's a requirement, so what we're thinking of can work. And I'll come down here. I'll add a singleton. Oops, I need over here. Oops, sorry, my keyboard is not working. So I'm gonna take this class over here, and notice that over here I am adding the service and the implementation. So I'll have the interface first thing, and then I'm gonna have the declaration. Now over here there are some different type of implementation, or let's say that each service has its own life cycle inside the application, and it's a really long story to tell you all of that in one thing. Okay, but like I wanna share as much as possible of information with you to give you value and benefit and to get you started really quick. So now I have this service created. Now what I will do, I'll come down here, and the same code we wrote, or we are saying over here, we need to inject the name of the service and the name of the instance. So I'll come down here, I'll add inject rating service, and I'm gonna call it rating service. Now here is an error over here because we need to reference the namespace for this. I'll just steal this one, and I'll come down here. So I have everything, as you can see over here. I don't have a concrete implementation of my class. Now many tutorials, or in the previous tutorials you've seen us, we created a new object of that class, the rating service class, for example. But doing this will make your application hard to maintain, hard to work with, hard to develop. And if you wanna change the application and make it dynamic as much as possible, this will not work with you. But using the dependency injection, using the container for the injection and so on, you can later on change. Let's say that the rating service implement another service, and like the application will not notice the difference. So that's really one of the major things inside ASP.NET Core. In the old days it's used to be done with the libraries and so on. Now it's come out of the box. So now what we can do over here, let's come down over here. Let's add a button that does the following. Okay, I'm gonna call it calculate rating. I'm gonna come down over here and add click, or I'm sorry, on click. I'm gonna add here the event for the calculation from rating service. So I'm gonna create like this, public void rating service. Now there are many ways like to do and use the services. I'm not gonna go into them. I'm gonna just show you some really basic example to help you get started. And if you have any questions and so on, please just like leave me a comment below and I'll answer your questions and help you with your work. So now we are using the rating variable over here. So we're gonna pass it, and I think we have all the things that we need. We just need to reference this on a click. Alright, so we have everything supposedly that we can do. We have just, oh, we need to do it like this. I'll add just a breakpoint so you understand and see the configuration, and actually I'll stop the application to give you some more valuable information for you. I'm gonna leave a breakpoint over here and we're gonna run this code. Now notice with me, when we run our application, the first thing, or one of the first events that will be raised, is the configure services, where it will see all the services that needs to be injected and it will inject them inside the application. Now we have it inside the container. We're gonna hit continue and we're gonna go to the survey page, and we're gonna add maybe 5, and we're gonna click over here. Now notice with me that as you can see, we can see some values over here, and we can see actually like an object for the rating service. That object represents an instance of singleton for the application. And now if we continue, if I hit F11, so now we have it over here. We have the breakpoint. Notice that it's working. I have the implementation, or I have an object of this class. While I did not create it, it was created with me or for me with the dependency injection. So now notice we can see, or we will get to see some output. If I come back, notice this is the same message that we have created over here, and it's shown for us inside the debug console down here. So that's for this tutorial. I've shown you how you can configure services and work with them inside ASP.NET Core and also with the Blazor. I hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe to the channel. Check out the description. We have Bootcamp for programming. We have many things. We have courses for programmers and so on. Just check the link in the description below, and hopefully we will see you again in other lectures and in other tutorials.